What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Thursday Night Football Pre-Lock Show here on RotoGrinders. Happy to be with you and with potentially a reasonable scoring Thursday night game. Maybe just 1 week we can have a quality game on Thursday night. We shall see. We've got the Saints, we've got the Cardinals, and we've got a lot to talk about here for this Thursday night game here to kick off week number 7. Happy you are joining us as well. And if you're watching us live on YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate it. We've got a packed show here and only about 30 minutes to get you all the information. So we'll get right to it. I am Justin Van Zuiden, a.k.a. STL Cardinals 84. It's freezing now, like winter has arrived. We have skipped fall. So, yes, I am wearing a RotoGrinders hoodie with a collared shirt. Don't judge me. It's going to be the new fashion trend. I was cold, so I put the RG gear on. We've got the other Justin Carlucci here with me. Justin, Luch, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Justin? Had to defrost my car this morning, so that was...
Yeah, that's just cruel, man.
Yeah, so I'm a last-minute kind of guy, too, so it didn't work out very well for me, but I guess 'tis the season.
Run the defrost as high as it'll go and peek through the little hole as you get your drive started to get where you need to go on time. We've also got a special guest. We got Andre with us tonight. He's going to kick off the show, and then he's going to dart. But he's going to kick off the show by showing off one of our new tools over on RotoGrinders and Scores and Odds. Dre, what's going on? And we'll let you have the floor here to start.
What's going on, Justin and Justin? Unfortunately, I'm not cold like you guys are because I'm here in Florida.
It must be nice.
Doing some training though for so it's not that nice. Got a lot of information learned for to be this flight attendant I'm going to be. But I'm here tonight just to give you guys a brief preview, a brief overview of what I like today on the Parley IQ tool. Pretty much, it's going to be not exactly ideal of how I wanted it to be, just because the odds have changed and it's a little bit tighter, I think, with the books catching up. But these are some of the plays that I do like tonight. I like D-Hop returning back for his first game. We got no Marshawn Lattimore at corner here for the Saints. So I like him to get over 63.5 yards receiving. I also do like Zach Ertz to get over 45.5 receiving yards too today. As you know, they lost Marquise Brown today this week too, so he'll be out for about a month or so. So I think Kyler's going to focus on these two guys mainly. And we know the Saints has a lot of injuries on their side too, so I like Alvin Kamara to go over 63.5 rushing yards today. I think that's going to be a good, fairly bet today, as you saw what Walker did to them last week with Seattle. Taysom Hill, he's gonna have to play a lot. He's gonna be he's one of their better players. Gonna be their main focal point. So I like him to get over 31.5 rushing yards today as well. And last but not least, I got to go on my team to win today. That's a money line play plus 120. I love this play. I love this little parlay today. It's not the odds that I was hoping to get, but you can get this odds on FanDuel right now and whatever legal sports betting state you're at for plus 1706. So it's a little bit less than it should be more than the 2400, but I guess it is what it is today. It's also being a last minute thing. But also, bonus play that I do like is Taysom Hill to score a touchdown today as well. So if you want to add that in there, you can for sure. Go get it in. Go get other picks on Scores and Odds today, and let's go continue making some money.
All right. Yeah, that's a very useful tool over there at Scores and Odds, the Parley IQ tool. You can, if you're in a legal sports betting state, you can grab your picks and enter them right onto the FanDuel Sportsbook. It's real slick. And our team has spent a lot of time and effort putting that tool together, and it will, it's only been going for a few weeks. So it's one of those things that will continue to evolve and grow over time, and we'll get more bells and whistles and features, and it's still a pretty grand tool, even with what we have in there now. So appreciate the demo there, Andre, and best of luck with all your picks tonight. And we hope you have a good Thursday evening. Thanks, Dre.
Anytime. Have a good one, guys.
Yep. We'll see you.
See ya.
All right. So that was Andre Alford demoing the Parley IQ tool over there at Scores and Odds. And of course, if you didn't know, Luch is a big part of our Scores and Odds team. So he loves the dual promo here on the Thursday night show. I will get our lineup HQ screen share rolling here on my side so that we can get that up and get ready to break down this Thursday night game. And I mentioned, hopefully, a good game, but it's not going to take too much to top what we had the last couple of weeks, a 12-9 game and a 12-7 game the last 2 weeks. So over 21 points is all we got to get to top those last couple weeks. The big news, and Andre kind of mentioned it there, the Saints are going to be without 6 starters, and I believe 5 of them are on defense tonight. Arizona, of course, complete changeup of their wide receiver core with Brown out and DeAndre Hopkins back. And Jameis Winston is healthy, but Andy Dalton's still going to start for the Saints. So a lot of moving parts, but we kind of know where they're at now. And just from a bird's eye view, what does the news tonight impact as far as making lineups on your end?
I'm playing the pass game regardless. I'm big on DeAndre Hopkins tonight. Spoiler alert to Carolina guy in the chat. I'm going DeAndre Hopkins on FanDuel for large field tournament tonight. It's not often a wide receiver on FanDuel is going to be the raw point scorer, but if there's anybody in the right situation on the right team and there's still a bunch of unknown, I kind of like going with DeAndre Hopkins. So hopefully this is a jolt of positive synergy and energy into Kyler Murray. And, I would expect Hopkins to get peppered with targets tonight. So I don't know. We really didn't expect James Conner to play, some of the other big news. So, Benjamin doesn't really scratch the itch. He's probably more of a large field tournament look as well, but I'm not really going there. A captain or MVP. I guess some of the bigger news with inactives is Matt Prater is not playing. So if you're going with the kicker, it looks like it's Rodrigo Blankenship tonight, my friend Cards.
All right, and I don't know if he is he even in the pool?
He's certainly on FanDuel.
I don't think he's on DraftKings. I've got DraftKings, and I'm going to actually go to DraftKings and make sure here. So if I go to, he's not available on DraftKings. So only FanDuel. Yep. We have removed the projection on Prater. I think they had added Amendola to the player pool, and then it's not him either. So your only kicker available on DraftKings is Will Lutz. If you are looking to play a kicker from this game somewhere, we'll pour one out for Will, who loves to play the kickers. But we've only got one on DraftKings tonight, and I haven't looked over on FanDuel yet, but I'll take your word for it that he's available over there. Also, we've got a new proud sponsor of the show, Stat Hero. I signed up for an account today, so I got my first taste of Stat Hero. The website jumps out at you at first glance, but I kind of thumbed around a little bit and got used to it a bit, and I got a pick I like for you here in a second. But if you haven't heard of Stat Hero before, it's a unique fantasy sports platform that allows you to compete only against the house and not against other players. So you can do head-to-head style contests where Stat Hero provides a lineup that you try to beat with your own, as well as like Pick'em and 2v2 style contests. You can also check out the Big Dime League, a season-long NFL leaderboard contest with up to $50K in prizes, and you can enter all season long. If you use promo code GRINDERS, you get a 50% deposit bonus up to $250 to get in the action today. And the pick that I found on Prize Picks this afternoon, they've got a promo, they've got a pick where it's DeAndre Hopkins and Alvin Kamara on one side and Chris Olave and Kyler Murray on the other side. Obviously, everybody likes the quarterbacks, and so they've got Murray and Olave -8 against that other group. Now, I think the -8 is a huge factor here because you're getting Hopkins and Kamara, two of the primary pass catchers on their respective teams. Hopkins is back, should be full strength. It's not like he was injured for the last few weeks. And you get full PPR on Stat Hero, and you get 8 points to start out. So with Kamara's volume and Hopkins' volume, Olave, I think he's been playing over his head just a little bit. And I think, Murray, if he's going mainly to Hopkins, then at least, you don't lose a ton of points head to head there when if Murray's going to Hopkins instead of the other receivers. So really, I think the only way this loses is if Hopkins flops and Murray still has a decent game. And I just don't see that happening. we've all seen the Arizona offense these last few weeks without Hopkins. They're not going to score 28 points without him being significantly involved. Luch, I know you like Hopkins a good bit, so I presume you like that same pairing that I do there.
Yep, I do. I like that a lot. I think he had a 20% target share last year, so it's not crazy, but no Hollywood Brown in the mix here. AJ Green is more relevant than he was last season. Rondell, we're not sure what exactly he is yet. So I fully expect Kyler to look at Hopkins frequently, and I think he's a big red zone threat as well. So we have plenty of time to talk about how that might affect some of these other Cardinals skill players tonight. But you mentioned it's not like he was hurt. I've heard everything I've read seems like he's in great shape. He knows the offense. It's not like he's on a new team. It's the same system. So I don't really have any reservations here. And I think maybe my favorite piece of information is that Marshawn Lattimore is still not playing. So this is actually a good matchup at wide receiver. And I guess I'm just going to start the conversation with DeAndre Hopkins, if that's okay with you, since I'm halfway home already. But looking at Gridiron IQ, one of our other great tools at RotoGrinders, the Saints yield production to wide receivers. They are pretty friendly to the position. They actually yield the 4th highest target percentage at the 6th best success rate. So they're letting wide receivers catch passes. No Marshawn Lattimore. DeAndre Hopkins is ready to roll. I just really like this play tonight. I wrote up his props at 61.5 early this morning on scoresandodds.com, and that line has moved up a little bit. So I guess I'm done with my Hopkins rant. Clearly, I like him.
And we've actually got him as the 4th highest owned captain in DFS, behind Murray, Kamara, and Benjamin. Again, I know Benjamin, is going to get a huge share of the rushing attempts, but it's not like he was, fantastic by any means last week. And I think Hopkins, he's definitely my favorite if you're looking to get away from the super chalky captains. But the ownership is spread out there a little bit tonight. I mean, this is a game where you could see maybe somebody like Taysom Hill breaking the slate because he's, a gadget guy, and the Saints are down, a couple wide receivers, and Troutman, I think, is out as well. So, you don't have a lot of guys to throw the ball to outside of Olave and Kamara. So that, they'll maybe put him in wildcat type formations. Heck, they might have him and Dalton on the field together in the backfield. You just don't know what the Saints are going to do with Taysom Hill. He could throw a touchdown. He could run a touchdown. He could catch a touchdown. And it's probably the first slate where we've had 3 quarterbacks at 20% plus owned on a showdown slate. I don't think I've ever seen 3 quarterbacks. The backup quarterback mania is back. We've got 3 quarterbacks in the same game, 20% plus owned. And of course, position doesn't matter. I mean, obviously, if you could only play 1 quarterback, it's a problem. But with the flex plays and showdown builds, you could play 3 quarterbacks for the first time ever. And Taysom Hill is not overly expensive. I mean, you can easily make this work. If let's say I wanted to be crazy and put Hill at captain, I don't think I would do this, but you can play Hill, Dalton, and Murray, and you got 6,200 still for your 3 remaining spots on DraftKings. So if you want to do the 3 QB build, go ahead, but it's probably not optimal if Hill is, unless Hill's catching touchdowns from Dalton, but that's probably less likely than Hill kind of running one in or something like that. But what are your thoughts on Murray, Dalton, and Hill at the 3 quarterbacks
tonight? My thoughts on Taysom Hill are, I know in Showdown we throw correlation out the window more than anything. I mean, you can see players at the same position be optimal. Everything depends on game script, and oftentimes who has the touchdown equity. And the more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm probably likely to set a build rule where I'm probably not going to play Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara together. I just, you probably need one of them to score. Taysom Hill is not running routes. He's ran 10 routes the last 3 weeks total. So his probability of catching a touchdown are pretty low. Sure, he could throw one, but you need the perfect storm here to happen. So Kamara is obviously very expensive. I mean, and Taysom Hill's pretty volatile as it is. Single digit points, look at the game log, and then boom, he has a 4 touchdown game. And sure, he can run one in. But, if I'm trying to be different, and I know Taysom's definitely garnering some ownership here, I'm probably not playing Taysom and Kamara together. I think that's just my least likely route to go with Taysom Hill in a lineup build.
It's going to be a rough night for Luch if Hill throws a touchdown to Kamara, or as Derek mentioned in the YouTube chat, because Taysom Hill is Superman, he is going to throw a pass that gets deflected, and then he's going to catch it, and he's going to catch his own touchdown pass, and he's going to have 8,000 fantasy points. He's going to maybe do that twice, maybe 3 times, and Taysom Hill will break all the computers everywhere, and the 3% of people that roster him at captain will rejoice. It's just so tough to project Taysom Hill because you don't know what packages they're going to use him in. We can sit here and wax poetic about what we think he's going to do, but we really don't know. In theory, he's going to be on the field more because they don't have a lot of healthy top-end players, and so it would be within reason for the Saints coaching staff to find more ways to get him the ball because he tends to be productive because teams don't know how to prepare for him. But whether the Saints will actually do that, who knows? We've seen lots of crazy decisions. It's a short week.
Yeah.
You just never know what coaches are really going to do, and maybe he doesn't see the field as much as we expect. But I do agree with maybe spreading out your ownership and presuming that if Hill gets his touchdowns, he's probably going to be running them in, and then that's going to take away maybe the potential for Kamara. I don't disagree with potentially using that build rule. What about Murray? I mean, how much better is he going to look with Hopkins back in the mix? New Orleans missing a bunch of starters on defense. But this offense has been so bad lately.
Yeah. If you're looking for raw points, he has just a much higher ceiling than Dalton. So I have no problem playing Kyler on this showdown slate, especially since if I'm in on Hopkins at MVP and captain, obviously Kyler's glued to most of, if not all of my lineups that I'm putting in. So I don't really have a choice but to play him since I'm investing heavily in Hopkins tonight and hoping I'm right. So I don't have a problem with it. They're missing a ton of guys. The defense hasn't been fantastic. They're not pressuring the quarterback. I think they're actually dead last in pressure percentage. So I have no problem with Kyler. They're at home. The Saints are traveling, halfway across the country. I'm okay. I'm okay with Kyler. I much prefer him to Dalton for sure.
I think the issue that you'll run into is if you want to play Hopkins and Murray and Kamara, it's pretty difficult to get to. I suppose it's doable, but let's see. Let's see what we get at the rest of the positions. But if you want to play Hill instead of Kamara, obviously you do get a discount there. But a lot of people are probably going to want to start their cash games with these 3 quote unquote safest plays, or even their tournament builds. I know not as many people play cash games anymore, but you're just going to see a lot of people starting lineups like this. And if these are the 3 highest scoring guys, then they probably will end up on the optimal lineup if there's enough value guys that put up a reasonable amount of points around him. It's just going to be who plays Hopkins, Murray, and Kamara and puts the right cheap guys around him. So we'll see where we can get maybe with the pass catchers and defenses and that with the cheap stuff. But Benjamin is 8,200 on DraftKings. I don't know. I don't love that. I know he's probably going to get 20 touches. I just don't know how good, Benjamin is.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you there as well. I'm not high on him for the price. He's expensive on FanDuel too. He is, hold on a second. He's 11K on FanDuel as well, checking in at the 5th highest priced player. And he's quote unquote featured back. I understand it. I'm just not sold on it. I'm not willing to go there tonight. I guess if I'm taking any stand, and we have actually projected for 50% in the flex.
Yeah, I just don't get
at
that.
FanDuel. I'm okay at that ownership with taking a very light stance on him, or just Xing him out and hoping he doesn't find the end zone.
Yeah, those 2.5 yards per carry last week. I think they might give Keontae Ingram a little bit more work in the running game tonight. I don't think Ingram's a crazy Keontae Ingram, that is. I guess we got 2 Ingrams here, better be careful. But at $400 on DraftKings, productive guy in college. He only got 3 carries last week, so it's definitely we're doing 100 lineups, and you want a dirt cheap punt on DraftKings. Maybe you throw Keontae Ingram in a few, but definitely not something you'd want to do probably in your first lineup build or two.
Yeah, and if we're talking like super cheap guys, just for value, if you're looking to cram in some of these studs, a guy who's not safe might not even score. Actually, the odds are pretty good. He probably won't register a point. But JP Holtz is running routes. He ran 4 routes in week 5, 8 routes last week. So I guess that number is going up considering he ran 1 in week 4. He's playing 30+% of the snaps in 3 of the last 4 weeks. Troutman is inactive, so that is a biggie. I guess the big question is just like, where are they going to use Taysom? Like, I don't know, is he
everywhere?
Yeah, I get it. I know he's Superman. But primetime tight ends, if you're looking for a large field dart at probably less than 1% ownership, JP Holtz is running around a little bit. So I think he's interesting as a big
primetime tight end has gone by the wayside this year. This year it's no scoring in the Thursday night games is the new that primetime tight end is tired and no scoring on Thursday nights is wired, as they say. But all the tight ends outside of Ertz are pretty cheap. If we kind of go through the receivers here, obviously we've talked about Hopkins and we like him. Let's just talk about the rest of these Arizona receivers because no Marquise Brown, but now Hopkins is back. By the way, during the week, they also got Robbie Anderson. How much is he going to play? Robbie Anderson got into it with the Carolina coaching staff and quickly got exiled after last week's game. You've got Dortch active. You've got AJ Green still running around, and you've got Rondale, trying to figure out his role. Like, are we scared off of all these guys with Hopkins back? Somebody's still going to get some targets without Brown. Is it Ertz? What do we do with the Arizona pass catchers? Obviously, we like Hopkins.
I'm just imagining that Ertz's volume would have to take a slight tick down. He's still pretty safe, pretty high floor, all things considered. This is showdown. If Robbie Anderson plays 15% of the snaps, he's gonna do the same stuff he's done in Carolina: run straight down the field and run really fast. So if you give me 2 30-yard A dots out of Robbie Anderson, I'm willing to have
you never know
player pool. Right, exactly. So I guess I'm the most scared of Dortch. I think. You're taking Marquise Brown out of the equation, but you're adding in Hopkins and you're adding in Anderson to some capacity, even if it's only a little bit. I think Dortch would probably be the guy X out of the player pool.
It'll be really interesting to see. Obviously, Anderson is going to have a bigger role going forward than he does tonight. He's only been with the team for 3 days of the Thursday night game. But this will probably be one of the only chances to get him. Like, if he was fully integrated into this offense and we knew that he was their wide receiver too, you'd have 25% ownership, 30% ownership on Robbie Anderson tonight. So certainly worth a peek. The New Orleans pass catchers, I mean, it's basically Olave and then for everybody else. But like Olave was banged up, didn't play last week. He's still a rookie and he's one of the most expensive guys on the board. So I don't know what to do with these New Orleans pass catchers. I just don't love it.
I built 20 some odd FanDuel lineups, and I just spread my exposure out between Callaway and Traquan Smith. Yeah, I just feel like they have the same stat line. Whenever it's like 3 for 50 and a touchdown, maybe, right? Like their ceilings aren't super high. How much volume is Dalton really going to give Olave? And I don't know the source. I was listening to Sirius in my cold car ride this morning on the NFL Network, and these guys were led to believe that Jameis was still like the emergency quarterback, like third on the pecking order. So, I don't think there's any chance Jameis comes in and like lets it rip and unleashes hell, right? And just starts peppering everybody. So Dalton just really caps these guys' ceilings. Like I'm not playing all 3 of these receivers in any lineups. I'm definitely setting build rules where I don't want any more than 2 of them. And, I'm a little skeptical about even doing that.
Yeah, totally agree. I just don't have much exposure to the New Orleans passing game here. Plenty of, you get Hill as the gadget guy, Kamara. Maybe you throw one of the cheap tight ends in the mix. We do have a few folks asking questions in the YouTube chat about kind of some of these miscellaneous players. So, a lot of people asking, is Dan Janning asking about Cardinals D as captain and not playing Hopkins? We're both big on Hopkins tonight, so I don't love the no Hopkins thing, but certainly the Cardinals defense does make sense as a play. I usually don't captain a defense, just outside of Like, I think you need like 2 defensive touchdowns or 1 defensive touchdown and a shutout, or like 7 sacks or something for a defense to be optimal. And we just don't see that ceiling game. Even in these primetime games where the scores have been like 12-9 and 12-7, it's just tough to captain the defenses. So I'm fine with playing the Cardinals defense, but probably just throwing them in the flex. I'd rather captain Hopkins and do it that way. I mean, and the Saints defense is fine too. Obviously, we've seen this New Orleans offense, or this Cardinals offense, for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it's been a struggle at times. So let's see. Big Hurt says, what about Corey Clement? Corey Clement, any interest there? I mentioned Ingram potentially getting some carries. Corey Clement can maybe catch a few passes.
I mean, he's not doing it for me. He won't be catching passes in any of my lineups. I might be wrong.
Catch any passes?
I don't have any of them. They like Ingram, so like, I don't think Clement will have ample opportunity. Like, I don't know. I'd be shocked if he played. I'd be shocked if he played like 10% of the snaps. I think Ingram will have a little bit more of it. Like you alluded to, I think we'll see a little more Ingram, and they want to see what they have out of him as well.
Yeah, unless they fall behind by like 3 scores or something. I was trying to see, what do we do to make this lineup build work? Let's see. I put Moore in there. See, the guy that makes it go. If you put JP Holtz in there, then you got 6,900 for your last spot, and you can really make that work. Like that, finding that punt play in a GPP. Suppose I can play the Saints D, and then I'm 300 short for Will Lutz, so I'd have to work it around a little bit to make all that work. But again, you can obviously build a lineup with Hopkins, Murray, and Kamara in it. You're just going to need some punts along the way.
If you're playing cash games, who's your optimal? Who's your captain? It's probably not Hopkins, right?
It's probably Murray in cash games, I would guess. But like I say, I don't know how many people are truly playing cash games in Showdown NFL anymore. I don't know. Lots of people still seem to play cash games in NBA. Like all the crunch time questions we get in NBA are on, cash games, it seems like. But football, seems like it's gone by the wayside a little bit. Dan wants to know, would you consider taking a shot on a Robbie Anderson captain lineup in DK GPPs?
Yeah.
How bold are you going to go with that, Robbie Anderson?
How many lineups are you playing? If you're playing a lot, then I don't mind, 1 or 2. You would need even if he goes like 1 catch for 50 and a touchdown, you'd still need a perfect like storm of a game script, right? Because that's still like 13 fantasy, basic scoring. So, if you get a lower scoring game, if it's not the world's worst game, but not as good as we think it's going to be tonight, or somewhere in the middle, you can maybe get by with a Robbie bomb. But I think a lot of things would need to go right in addition to him catching the bomb.
Yeah, especially with the full PPR on DraftKings, he's probably just not going to get the snaps to make that work. I pulled up FanDuel here quick, just if anybody wants to see what we've got for like ownership and stuff over there. Again, Eno Benjamin at 50%. Luch mentioned that earlier. Don't love that though. With the half-point PPR on FanDuel, I suppose he does project a little better over there. But he's the same price as Olave. I think I'd rather play Olave. He's more expensive than Taysom Hill. Hopkins is 12.5. Like, it comes together pretty easily on FanDuel usually. Let's just see if I built like the same type of lineup. Let's throw Kamara, Hopkins, Murray. Then you're down to 7,750. So like we mentioned, you're going to need that complete punt. Holtz, 5K. You got 10.5 for your last spot. So it comes together kind of the same way. We mentioned, let's see. Blankenship, if he is the kicker, is available on FanDuel. Same price as Lutz.
Yeah, guys, it's 8:14 Eastern, by the way. Sorry to cut you off. So
8:15 lock on the Thursday night game. So,
yep.
Matt is asking Ingram, Keontae Ingram and DK GPP. Definitely don't mind that as a DK punt play. 3 entry max on DraftKings, 1 Kamara captain and 2 Murray, or take 1 Murray and flip to Hopkins. I go 1 Kamara, 1 Murray, 1 Hopkins. I like that.
I would just hit save, whatever you have now.
Yeah, and save it. Get it saved. Make sure you got something in there because we are at lock probably right now by the time this makes it across the airwaves. And that went by fast for some reason. I guess we had Dre on for a few minutes, and it's – look, I was on last Thursday, and we had to try to talk about the Commanders and the Bears, and I just, There's like 4 guys that were worth talking about, and then that was it.
We actually were able to have a conversation for 30 minutes about a game, so for once.
Yeah, that was somewhat refreshing. Hopefully the game is not a dud. We've seen too many of those on Thursday nights so far this year. Derek says he got it saved in time. Perfect. And with that, we'll probably call it a night here. No reason to stay on after because you can't edit anything. The game is locked. But you can do some live betting during the game if you're into that sort of thing and you're in a legal sports betting state. Of course, check us out, rotogrinders.com, scoresandodds.com as well. Thanks to Steve for producing behind the scenes for us. Luch, anything else before we get out of here?
No, it's one of the better times of the year. You got playoff baseball, you have the NBA and NHL, starting off. The NFL's in the meat of the season, college football. Time to have some good Saturdays are for the boys' days, right? So, get out there.
Mainly for me, Saturdays are about writing up about 8 different sports, but that's okay. It's okay. It's that time of year when the football, basketball, baseball overlap is brutal.
I'm sorry, PGA started too.
And baseball's almost done, but I'll be doing the core plays for NBA on the weekends over on RG as well. So it's a busy time of year, but that's okay. That's what we sign up for. And hopefully we can make some money along the way as well. So I'm Justin for the other Justin and for Steve. Enjoy your Thursday evening football, everybody. We'll be back here tomorrow on Friday for our usual slate of NBA shows here on RotoGrinders. Have a great evening. Remember, hit the thumbs up button on your way out. And we hope you have a great rest of your Thursday, everybody. Take care.